Welcome to Heroes and Headlocks, your one-stop shop for all comic and wrestling-related info, with your host, Anthony.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Heroes and Headlocks. I'm your host, Anthony. Today I have a very special guest, one of my favorite bromances in the world, my friend Jay Dizzle. What is up, JD?
Well, the ceiling's up right now, dude. But I'm excited to be here. Let's talk some shit.
Why did you just make a dad joke?
Because
immediately out the gate.
Because that's how I roll, dude.
For anybody that doesn't know, which most of you probably don't because you don't know who JD is, he is a proud father of less than a year now, right?
Almost two.
Oh,
two in
wow.
October.
God, I'm terrible with time. Ignore me. And he loves dad jokes. So if you don't like dad jokes, just tough noogies. You're going to deal with it.
I'll try to tone him down for your audience.
Dude, they've been killing me on Facebook. Oh my God. Those are like quality. I always tell Chanel, I'm like, dude, JD made the best friggin' dad jokes today. And she's like, really? You laughed at that? I was like, of course I laughed at that. Are you kidding me? It's gold.
Then why don't you like them?
I like all of them. Look through that shit right now. I look like like so many of them. Probably not the recent ones.
You haven't liked all of them.
No, I've liked a lot.
I promise you that.
Yeah, I've been busy. You know, that's how things go.
Let's see.
Starting a podcast ain't easy.
If you say so, dude.
Today we're gonna we'll start with comic book stuff this time, because last week we did wrestling. This week we'll do some comic book stuff.
Ooh, sexy.
So I talked a little bit about all the Comic-Con trailers and stuff they had. Now, I know some of you probably were like, why are you giving me all those spoilers last week? So I will try to refrain from spoilers, or I will say spoiler beforehand so you don't get offended and want to beat me. So, did you see any of the cool Comic-Con stuff they had last week?
I saw some of it. I didn't get to see a whole lot. I saw, like, the Justice League. I saw Thor Ragnarok. I watched that like 50 times because it looked amazing.
Oh, I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, they have, whatever they're doing, they have it down pat. Like, the marketing on that is fantastic.
Absolutely. The only thing that's really bugging me, though, is just the trend that these trailers seem to be taking. It's like Guardians of the Galaxy did the 80s music and the late 70s music, and now everybody's got to do the late 70s and 80s music. And I'm hoping that this Thor Ragnarok thing is like the last one they do for a while.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's going to kill it for me, and it's going to kill it for everyone.
Which is sad, because it's such a unique... I mean, it's not really unique, but it's taking something old and making it new again. But they've done such a good job, especially with trailers lately. Like, even... I don't know if you saw the Kingsman trailer? No. Golden Circle. Mm-mm. They used like an old Frank Sinatra song, and it's so perfectly put on there. It's like taking these old songs and then making them super relevant is just so... It's like an art form. It's very well done, but I agree that it's kind of overkill, at least recently.
Well, I mean, certain trailers, it makes sense. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, it makes sense because that's all the music he has.
Yeah.
Like the Stranger Things Season 2 trailer, which was amazing and probably the best use of, spoiler, Michael Jackson's Thriller ever.
Yeah.
But it makes sense because that's the time frame the show is set in.
Yeah.
Thor takes place in outer space.
And pretty much like now times.
Exactly. I mean, I get that Bruce Banner, spoiler, sorry, apologize, is an older dude and probably listens to that kind of stuff, but come on, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. I hope that it stops with that, but I feel like at least ride the wave of momentum right now, and the colors and everything are great, especially on the poster. Oh, it's muy molto bella.
It's fine, be colorful, but don't kill a trend with music.
Yeah, I agree. Plus, it's so interesting how like Guardians of the Galaxy inspired so many other movies, and even like Suicide Squad. They tried to have a really trendy friggin' playlist, and it ended up kind of being like the first part of the movie, and then they just were like, we're done with it. They washed their hands of any... It was like two different movies almost, which is kind of sad.
Which that whole first, what was it, like maybe hour of Suicide Squad was like the best thing DC put on screen.
Creme de la creme.
Until Wonder Woman came out.
Ooh, so I haven't actually talked to anybody about Wonder Woman yet, so give me your thoughts. I know you're a big WW fan.
I am. Alls I can say, and I'm not very good at critiquing movies, is the entire time I was in that theater, I had a smile on my face from ear to ear. My wife kept looking over at me and asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I kept telling her, "Shut up and watch the movie. This is fantastic."
What did she think? You were in, like, shock or something?
I don't know if she thought that I was, like, had the hots for Gal Gadot, which,
Well, who doesn't?
She is freaking gorgeous.
My wife was even, like, hot. It's true.
Yeah. But I loved everything about it. I loved the tone, the story, while, yes, being another origin story of sorts, wasn't a traditional origin story.
Yeah.
The villains were fantastic, and the main villain, to me, was completely out of left field. I didn't see it coming.
No, I didn't either. And you know what's funny? Everybody else I went to see that movie with told me they knew who Ares was going to be.
They were reading some Wikipedia spoiler or
something, right? I did not see that coming. I was like, look at this spoiler. Look at this nice old man who just wants to help them out and is all fancy and nice. And then he's like, nah, I'm Ares, bitch.
I mean, I knew that the person they were positioning as the main villain was not going to be the main villain, but I had no idea it was going to be freaking Professor Lupin.
Yeah, that dude is so good in everything.
It really is.
And I didn't even mind that he was, like, old looking, but he looked dope in the armor. The armor was amazing.
My pants got a little bit tight when his armor came on.
Especially when he dragged his two fingers down his face and just the metal, like, melted and conformed to his... Oh, it was beautiful. Yeah, it was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was well paced. I do feel like taking Steve Trevor out of the equation is weird, and I hope they somehow bring him back, but I don't really know. You know probably more about how they would do that, if they were to do that.
We already know Superman's already going to be back in Justice League.
For sure. The trailer even alluded to that.
Exactly. But I feel like if they do it with every single character that's good...
It takes away from it.
It takes away from the impact, absolutely. I mean, I know in comic books...
They're notorious for that.
Nobody stays dead, exactly, but
Except for Elektra, right?
That's true.
I think she's the only one that ever died and then never came back.
I think so. Not real big Elektra fan, personally, but...
Good riddance. No, I'm joking.
There's some comic book conventions that I feel should be left out of the movies. And killing off a character and then bringing them back. Even though it's a couple of years later... But 1 or 2 movies later is negative base. That should not happen.
I felt that way. Well, okay. The one of the rare exceptions I would say would be Jason Todd. Because when they killed him, everybody was like, oh, that's so friggin' crazy impactful. And then for him to come back as, like, Red Hood was, like, such a interesting twist.
Yeah, but in the comics, it was kind of, like, ham-fisted, I
Oh,
guess
really?
you could say. Like, comic books, it was terrible.
But they did a good job after the fact.
Yeah, but the comic book was terrible.
Which is funny, because usually people are so, like, on board with the comic book and then not on board with the material that comes later with it.
True.
But, like, even the animated movie, they came out with it probably, like, I don't know, 7-8 years ago. Was it Under the Red Hood?
Under the Red Hood.
That one was really good. I enjoyed it.
That was good because it didn't have any of the convoluted crap that went along with the extra with the story.
Wasn't the thing with Joker like he took over the United Nations?
Something like that. It was something stupid. So stupid I blocked it from my mind.
Sometimes you gotta do that with comics, man. They take you to a weird place, and then afterwards you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna ignore that part.
Which is very unfortunate, I know.
Do you feel like it's weird when people take source material? So you have to think of it this way. Source material is good because it gives you a basis, but I feel like a lot of people get hung up on the fact that it's not exactly like what you're used to reading. But, I mean, it can't be.
It's physically impossible. I mean, the great thing about books in particular is you build up everything in your mind.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not everything that's in a book is going to translate to screen. Comic books, I feel, are kind of an exception to that rule because everything's visual to begin with.
That's true.
I mean, you've got a storyboard for your story right in front of you. You don't need to hire somebody to do it.
Yeah.
It's the most literal, like, page-to-screen translation you could possibly have.
You're literally being handed your script on a silver platter with the visuals, so you don't even have to have storyboards.
Exactly. Exactly.
But people get so, like, bent out of shape about it.
Well, yeah, and, I mean, some of it, I believe, is rightly so.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like, there's some stinkers, definitely.
I mean, look at the Outlash when Heath Ledger was announced as the Joker. Same thing with Ben Affleck as Batman. Yeah. Ben Affleck, to me, is still, like, one of, if not the best on-screen depictions of Batman.
I agree after I saw the movie, and I don't know if you remember, I was super against it.
Oh, I remember.
I went on, like, long rants for, like, 40 minutes. I was like, this old-ass motherfucker. Like, no, there's no way. But, I mean, I've grown to like him, and I actually support him in the fact that, like, they were trying to kick him out, and he wants to still do it, and, like, he's game. And it makes sense for... What I was thinking is I didn't really understand before I saw the movie if they were going to do the old Batman type of stuff. So the fact they did and the fact he's going to be 50 is kind of nice. It correlates well with the story, and like I feel like he's so good at conveying like his anger. But a lot of people were mad about at least Batman versus Superman because they felt like the world's greatest detective was reduced to being part of Lex Luthor's grand scheme. Which I can see, but at the same time, like, Batman's going to get duped every once in a while. It happens.
But look at the other side of that coin. You brought up World's Greatest Detective.
Yeah.
He actually got to do some detectiving in the movie.
A lot of it, actually.
Quite a bit. And I don't think, thinking back to the Nolan Batman movies, I don't think he ever really did detectiving.
That was all Lucius and Alfred.
It was all, here's the thing, figure out the thing.
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, he did the one scene in Dark Knight, I believe it was, where he shot the bullet into the brick to see the spread pattern and all that.
Oh yeah,
but that was it. And then he pushed a button on his computer and it did it for him.
Yeah, but at the same time, those movies, and I know that's definitely probably one of your favorite movies, is The Dark Knight, is so well done because it's different and because it takes out the conventions of what Batman is and it restructures it from a more normal perspective, obviously comparatively to, say, the original Batman, which was, great because it brings you the cartoony comic nature of it, but it doesn't really ground you in reality. And I feel like the Batman that happened in Dark Knight could definitely happen to some extent.
This is true. I mean, you're still not going to get where he's getting beat up like he is or attacked by dogs like he is.
Yeah.
And still be okay the next day. I mean, if I got attacked by a Rottweiler, regardless of what I had on, I'd be hurting for a couple of days.
Oh, for sure. He's like, I got bit, I'll recover in 2 days. That's cool.
Pretty much. I'm going to shoot my bat gun grapple thingy, whatever you want to call it, to save this dude, and I'm going to catch him with all of my weight while he's plummeting to the ground. Oh, and on that same note, this dude who's like 3 feet taller than me that we're sliding down a cliff, I'm going to catch him with one arm, plant my other arm spikes into the ground, and not be split in half when this dude hits the bottom of his fall.
That's very true. I didn't say they were perfect. I said they were really good. I really, especially with Batman vs. Superman, I love how gratuitously violent it was, and each Batman hit to those people, especially in the warehouse scene, I felt every single blow when he knocked that guy's face into the ground. Like, I felt it. It was great.
When he flung the box at the dude against the wall.
Oh my god.
And I don't remember if it was in the theatrical, but I know it was in the Ultimate Edition because I like punishing myself, where it just left that big old blood smear on the wall. It's like, there's no way he didn't accidentally kill that dude.
No. But it's great. I enjoy the over-the-top nature of it, just because, like, with Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, like, yeah, it grounded you, and it was cool, and it was pretty accurate, but I just love watching, like, Superman or Batman just literally, like, cave somebody's face in.
Yes.
It's so satisfying.
Yes. And that first appearance of Wonder Woman in that movie, still, to this day, when she comes flying out of the sky and blocks Doomsday, Shit's Day, freaking face laser, because it's not even an eye laser, it's like coming from every pore of his face.
Yeah.
And she just lowers her arms and that music kicks in. I swear every time my pants get a little bit tighter.
You know that music I have a love-hate relationship with? I can't do it justice, but it's a love-hate thing. I feel like they overused it a little bit, but when she first appeared, I did get the goosies.
Yeah.
It was, and especially because she's that character who you see her face and she's just like, I love to fight. I love that this is a challenge. I don't like that it's easy. Like, that made her Wonder Woman for me, for sure. Because she has that thirst for battle, and, the friggin' Amazonians are just friggin' awesome.
She's got the battle cry down, too.
Oh, yeah.
Ah! I can't do it, but that was...
Well, I would hope you wouldn't be able to do it.
If I could, Hollywood, I'm here.
Oh,
Hire
for
me.
sure. You need Gal Gadot. Contact his people. He needs a voice screamy actor.
If you need a scream stand-in because you have a cold, I got your back.
He'll practice that, ladies and gentlemen. So I know you said Wonder Woman's definitely a favorite, and Dark Knight. Any others, or is that pretty much your top two?
Those are the top two for sure. There are a couple of other ones that I guess fall under honorable mentions. Like Spider-Man 2 is great.
I really like that one.
The original Batman. Not original. The 89 Batman.
Oh, okay.
It's fantastic. So if we go original Batman, we're talking Adam West and Burt Ward. Rest in peace, Adam West.
Man, that is so sad.
Mm-hmm.
It just kills me a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. That's 89 Batman's good. Spider-Man 2. The thing about Spider-Man 2 I really liked? It was the fact that it was so real. Like, this dude's got to have a job, he's got to pay rent, and he's still trying to be a superhero at the same time. And I feel like that's something that's not often tackled, because it's like, if you're a superhero, you're free of all other responsibilities.
This is true.
But not the case.
This is true. I mean, like, they kind of tried a little bit in Batman Begins, I feel like.
Yeah.
With the whole, he's still passed out in bed, and Michael Caine, I'm not going to call him Alfred because he was just Michael Caine. Michael Caine comes walking in, and he says, even for a billionaire playboy, 1 o'clock is pushing it, and he throws back the curtains. Bats are nocturnal.
Dude, Michael Caine was a great Alfred.
He really was. I'm kind of preferring the Jeremy Irons more hands-on Alfred, though.
It's different, which I like. I really do enjoy the fact that Jeremy Irons he's the brains behind the operation. Like, Batman's obviously a smart dude. He came up with a lot of his own stuff, but I love Jeremy Irons is like, I got you, I'll take control of this, like, you go do something else. It's something I feel like we haven't seen in a lot of other Alfreds.
This is true. And that shot in the trailer of Cyborg taking over, I couldn't even tell if it was the Batwing or if it was a Batmobile 5.0 or something like that.
They said it was like a Bat Walker or something, because it had the legs and it could climb up like different different shelves and stuff.
Like the freaky bat thing from Lego Batman movie?
Yes, that thing.
Okay, let's go with that, because that would be fantastic if there was a live action version of that.
Oh, yeah.
But when he takes over and Cyborg goes, "Don't worry, Alfred, I got it," and he just goes, "And who the hell are you?"
Come again, who is this?
I mean, that little bit alone lets you know that this Alfred is there for the entire conflict, no matter how long it goes.
Oh, yeah.
He's got your back, Bruce.
Got your back, bro. Don't even worry about it. I feel like Justice League is going to be really good. And
it's either going to be really good or it's going to be really bad.
What's your initial, gut feeling?
My gut tells me that half of it is going to be really good and the other half is going to be really bad.
Really? So you think it's the Suicide Squad treatment, pretty much?
I think so. I think the gathering of the team is going to be fantastic. I think the ultimate final battle, which is probably going to take 45 minutes to an hour, just based on the trailers alone, is going to drag and it'll end up sucking or end in some super convoluted way. Like, Superman shows up, mullet and mustache and all, and just rushes in and saves the day.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're aware of the latest petition online, but everybody wants to give Superman a mustache really, really bad. And personally, I think it would be great, because if you've seen that man recently, he looks great with a mustache. I don't disagree at all. I think it would be amazing.
It's not that they want to give him a mustache. He's contractually obligated to have this mustache for Mission Impossible 6.
Really? I did not know that.
Yes, he is not allowed to shave it. And if he did, he's breaking contract, which means bye-bye money for this multi-million-dollar movie. Well, they're all multi-million-dollar movies.
Oh, for sure.
But this, crazy production because Tom Cruise got to have his way in everything that he's in. So Warner Brothers has to digitally remove his mustache in every reshoot shot that he's in.
That's a lot of money wasted, I feel.
That's a ton of work. I read somewhere, I don't remember if it was IGN or a CBR that I read this on, but depending on how the shot is, if it's a moving tracking shot, in terms of man hours, we're talking 6 weeks of work for one shot.
Oh my god.
And this movie's supposed to be out in November.
Whew, that's a lot of work.
It's a bootload of work for a mustache.
Yeah.
Which, you're right, is fantastic.
He looks really good. Good on him, man. He's a good-looking dude. And I'm completely blanking out on his name right now.
Henry Cavill?
Thank you, yes.
Cavill. We're terrible people because we don't know people's names.
I most of the time do. And it's funny, my friend Vinny's going to get mad because he is in love with Henry Cavill. So I've pretty much offended him right now. But he's just... it's funny, in the first Superman movie...
Man of Steel.
Yeah, thank you. That one. When he came out and he grabbed the clothes off the thing and he's walking around with his big-ass muscles... And he just stealing the shirt. Oh my god, he was a good looking dude.
Did your pants get tight?
Oh yeah. He had the beard going on. He's like, look at me, I'm rugged Superman.
And then they had to go and shave him.
Another.
Which
yes, please bring it up.
How does a Kryptonian shave?
Yeah.
Shouldn't his hair be invulnerable too?
I agree.
He didn't have no kryptonite razor blade hidden away on his blown-up Fortress of Solitude spaceship thingy.
Do you know how many explosions he's been in and his hair stays perfect?
Exactly.
You're telling me
all of them.
He has crypto gel. Helps keep it all nice in place. Or something.
Gotta be it.
It was ridiculous. And especially because the scene where he's in the ship and then he emerges from the ship and he has no facial hair.
Yes.
You're telling me that the friggin' flying Fortress of Solitude has a razor just hidden somewhere in a secret compartment.
Russell Crowe shaved him.
That was a father-son moment he will never forget.
Deleted scenes.
He's like, son, I know we have never met except for this one time, but would you let me shave your glorious beard?
I must make you the man-child you were always meant to be.
Oh my god. What's funny is I brought that up to my friend and he was mad I even mentioned it. He's like, now you're just nitpicking. That is not a nitpicking scenario. That is simply me saying it didn't make sense. If they would have added a scene where he goes home and shaves, I wouldn't have been freaking mad. But guess what? He emerges from this magical ship he finds and he's just beautiful.
At least he still had his chest hair poking up over the top of his collar.
Well, he's super manly. He ain't gonna shave that.
That's true. He's like a big rugged bear. I just want to wrestle him.
Ben Affleck got in really good shape too. So I can't take anything away from him as Batman. He looked when he's lifting the tire and beating on it. Oh, he was looking pretty good too. No homo though.
I was gonna say, did you like it when he was beating it on it?
Let's just talk about Gal Gadot being sexy because
she's fantastic. That armor is so form-fitting and amazing, and her accent is so sexy, and it turns me on.
Did you hear there was pushback because she's Israeli, right?
Yes.
So there was pushback about her being Wonder Woman for that reason, and for the fact that she had smaller breasts than actual Wonder Woman.
Actual Wonder Woman is a comic book character that has been drawn by horny men for generations.
You tell all those horny men and fans of those horny men that and see how they react.
No, she did fantastic. And, you're talking about a character who's on an island that's cut off from society. Who cares what her real nationality is supposed to be?
Yeah.
I thought they did a great job going with someone who was against the traditional Hollywood good-looking girl, and then you hired someone who's my jaw hit the floor when she came on screen. I was like, yeah. This movie's fantastic now, even though most of Batman v Superman was garbage.
She makes everything better. I agree.
She really does.
And, so they even matched everybody's accent, so they all kind of had the same dialect, which was cool. So everybody kind of sounded the same. So it didn't bother me, and I don't understand why you're mad that she's Israeli. I mean, she, like you said, she's a great actress. The funny thing is she hadn't been in very much beforehand. I think just the Fast and the Furious movies, and then that one movie called Criminal that everybody was like, all these people that aren't actually superheroes in this movie have been in superhero movies before. Which was, I don't know if you saw that trailer, but that's how they positioned that movie. They're like, we know this movie sucks, so we're going to say, hey, Gal Gadot's in it. She's Wonder Woman. Hey, the guy from Dark Knight, oh my god, am I forgetting his name too? Crap. Who's the guy who played Gordon in Dark Knight?
Gary Oldman.
Thank you. What is happening? Is the alcohol, ladies and gentlemen? I apologize. I love Gary Oldman. He's my boy. So
I love him so much you forgot his name.
I was too focused on his face, bro. Too focused on his face. So yeah, they're like, hey, he's in it. Original Two-Face from Batman Forever's in it. And so that's how they marketed it, really. And
I mean, Tommy Lee Jones, right?
What did I say?
You just said original Two-Face. No names. Come on, dude.
Oh my, I knew Tommy Lee Jones. For sure I knew Tommy Lee Jones. I'm going to slow down on the alcohol, ladies and gentlemen, because that was a mistake. Anyway, yes, so that movie came out, and I watched it. It was garbage. Oh, the lead was Kevin Costner. I remembered a name. You can't get mad at me. And they're like, Superman's dad. That's how they built... I swear to God, you need to find this poster. It'll make you die with laughter.
I should find it and frame it and keep it for posterity.
I'm like, really? You have no other way to... You're telling me these people that have been really famous actors who have been in tons of other movies, that's how you're going to go with it.
I just want to see my daughter's face when she walks into the room, when she's able to talk and say, Daddy, who are all these people really?
Because they're not those people.
No.
I'll tell you that much.
She's only going to know them from their superhero movies, which is terrible.
Hey, you're doing your job as a father. I'm just telling you.
That's true.
Because those movies are fantastic. Now, have you decided... I don't even know if you've done this yet. Have you decided what her first superhero movie is going to be?
I have not yet. Most likely it'll be the original Richard Donner Superman, because that's such a positive movie, and most everything we get nowadays has some form of like super darkness in it.
Super darkness.
Like, I mean, the whole, even going back to Iron Man 1, the whole allegory of like war and arms dealers, and then he's laying there after the bomb goes off and just the blood slowly like covering his jacket and his shirt. That's not something I want to show my daughter necessarily. When she gets a little bit older, absolutely, like 10 maybe, but it'll probably be OG Soups, my man.
That's a good movie, too. And it's got to be the director's cut, right?
Absolutely.
Of course, yeah.
I mean, except for the stupidity of he just gets so mad he can just spin around the world and reverse time. I mean, that's a little bit of a stretch.
But, again, happy ending.
True.
It makes everything right.
I mean, I'm not going to show her Superman kissing and making Lois forget, like, years.
Yeah.
That's the dumbest fake superpower ever.
You know, there's a lot of dumb superpowers, but that's probably up there on the list of dumbest. I'm not going to lie.
I can't even right now.
So, with those old Superman movies, they pretty much consistently tried to keep the same tone through all of them.
Unfortunately, yes.
Unfortunately, especially with, what was it, the fourth one, Quest for Peace, with Atomic Man?
Oh, good lord.
So my plan for this podcast is eventually I want to get a series of really terrible superhero movies and get some commentary on them. You know, maybe even watch them and give a review, just a fresh in the mind memory, and kind of roll with that and see how it goes. Because there is a lot of really bad superhero movies. There's good ones, there's a lot of good ones, but there's a lot of stinkers too.
Batman and Robin.
No, you take that dirty word out of your mouth. That was a great movie.
It falls into the it's so bad it's good.
Oh, it's one of the worst, but it is so good. I could watch that movie. I'll pop it in right now. I don't give a fuck.
What killed the dinosaurs?
The Ice Age! Nobody can say a line like Schwarzenegger. Like, whoever chose him for Freeze, was the best and worst. They should have been fired and then rehired, like, way later down the line.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
You know, there's a compilation you can find on YouTube, and it's literally just all of his sayings, and it's like 3-4 minutes long, and you will laugh at every single one of them. Like, if you want bad jokes, that man is king. His writing staff is phenomenal.
This is true. I cannot argue with that.
What? So, do you hate Uma Thurman as Poison Ivy?
She's my main detractor.
Really?
Her and Alicia Silverstone are my biggest.
Alicia Silverstone
detractors.
was mine. You know what's funny is it just took me till recently to realize that they made her Alfred's niece.
How old is this movie and you're just now realizing this?
I swear to God, this whole time I'm just like, wait, Gordon's like not even important in those movies. Wait, why does she care about Alfred? Oh wait, that's right. Yeah, I don't know why they did that. That was a weird decision. But really, I'm kind of curious about the Uma Thurman thing.
Yeah, no, she was way too campy. Like, she would have been too campy for the original Batman show, the Adam West show.
That's pretty campy.
I feel like she would have given Cesar Romero, like, a run for his money. I really do. She was just, oh my God, it's like she knew how bad the movie was.
And she's like, let's live it up.
And she's just said, like, on her first day, fuck it.
Don't you feel like everybody in that movie did that, though?
I feel like everyone except, I can't remember his name, but the dude who played Alfred was like, fuck it.
That dude is great in anything, though.
That's true. He gives it 127%, even when he's like decrepit and ancient.
I want to say his name is Michael Gough or Gough. It's like Gough.
I don't know, man. I feel like we need a fact check on that.
He's pretty cool though, and you know it's funny that goes back to the Alfred point. Alfred's always been a very big part of every Batman movie, and I haven't really hated an Alfred ever. I mean, I could rate them definitely and tell you like who's my favorite, who's my least favorite, but in general, every Alfred is very much a cornerstone of the movie, and he makes it, especially for Michael Caine. Michael Caine is just. It's funny, he didn't even change anything really about him. He's still Michael Caine, but he's a great Alfred anyway.
Yeah, Michael Gough is his name. Gough.
Oh, Anthony for the win after not getting friggin'... Oh no, I forgot his name again. Damn it. Wait. Oh, shit. Oh, no.
You've missed so many, I don't even know which one you're talking about.
Oh, crap. Oh, that sucks.
We're just going to say Larry the Cable Guy.
Get her done!
How about that new Vigi game that came out like a couple months ago?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it that little title called Injustice 2 that wasn't a big deal at all?
Yeah, that's the one.
Oh, yeah, it was a huge deal because it's friggin' awesome.
It is a great game. It is my favorite game, and every time I'm playing it and my wife comes home and she sees it on the screen, she just says, "Really?" And I say, "You don't understand." And that's about it.
The replay value of that game is phenomenal. The story was great. The motion capture was great. Down to everything, that game is perfect in my opinion. Who are you best with on there?
It's a toss-up. There's two that I'm really good at, and two that I'm good at, and then everybody else I'm kind of and then one person I kind of just like, I will never touch that person again.
Who's that person?
The person I will never, ever, ever, ever touch again is Dr. Fate.
Oh, wow, we were different.
Completely different.
The only reason I like Atrocitus is his cat is named Dexter, and guess what? That's also my cat's name. It's Dexstar, but we'll just say Dexter. Yeah. Why do you hate Dr. Fate so much?
He's too slow. He's too much of a zoner, and I'm not really a zoner kind of dude.
Yeah.
I want to be up in your face and just pounding you.
There's really nothing wrong with that. I do enjoy... I hate people, especially with Call of Duty. I hate people that hide and just want to shoot you from afar. Like, come on, be a man, fight me, let's have some fisticuffs. Like, it's good. We'll go to town on each other.
That's why my main dude, Bane, is so awesome. Because if somebody's zoning me, I can just pop a trait and just run in and wreck them.
And Bane is such a great character. And going back to the movie briefly, that was my main detractor of Batman and Robin, is they turned Bane into a mindless frickin' dude who just goes... Bane! break. Like, he repeats one word out of every sentence. It was terrible. Anyway, we'll continue with Injustice before I get mad about that. So who's your best character, you said, then?
It's between Bane and Soups are my best.
Those are good ones.
They really are. Because they both have options to deal with them zoner jerks. Like, Bane, seriously, it's you pop his trait, and you get that armor that lets you run through attacks.
Yeah.
And then Superman, if they're zoning you, you just zone them back.
This is true.
And you say, screw you, I can fly, sucker.
I'm really good with Batman.
Everybody is.
I feel like everybody's good with Batman. It's funny because he's the most well-balanced character. Mm-hmm. And people have even been like, oh, don't play as Batman. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's a legitimate thing. And they recently actually nerfed Aquaman, and everybody's freaking out about it. They were signing petitions to, like, bring him back up. So it's funny because they're always going to make adjustments to these games because they want it to be as fair as possible. And Aquaman, let's face it, even in Injustice 1, he was OP as shit.
Yes,
like,
I agree.
It was ridiculous. Like, Aquaman was the dude. And guess what? He's still the dude. And he's great. But he's too great.
I'm not a big Aquaman fan.
Really?
He's too slow.
You and the slow. Which is... So, another point. Another point is a lot of people have a really hard time playing Injustice for whatever reason. The main complaint I've heard is it's not as fast as other fighting games. Now, I know obviously you're going to have fast-paced games like Marvel vs. Capcom, or I'll even give you Street Fighter. Those ones are definitely a more fast-paced, but Mortal Kombat's very similar. It's by NetherRealm. It's the same damn company. There's probably like a few adjustments here and there, but other than that, it's the same damn game, essentially. Then... I don't know. Tekken's pretty slow-paced. Probably about the same.
Tekken, like, the character movement, I feel is on the same par, but them rounds are over so freaking quick.
Those hits do some damage,
this
but
is true.
Let's be fair. If you have armor on in Injustice, you beat them pretty quick, too.
But, if I got kicked in the face by some Bruce Lee-like dude, I'm going down pretty quick myself.
That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But Tekken's known for being very good about their realism and their movements. I don't know if you knew this, which will eventually lead us into our other statement. But the newest Tekken, they had New Japan Pro Wrestling Okada's. He's the champion, or was at that point in time. He did all the movements for King in that game. So you can actually wear Bullet Club shirts.
That's pretty cool.
In Tekken. It's one of the most fan-freaking-tastic things.
That's pretty awesome. I'm guessing you do this in this video game.
All the time. Are you kidding me? King was the first guy I mastered. He's the first guy I got my Bullet Club shirt for, and I just went to town in a luchador mask, and it was like the greatest game in the world. Injustice, though, yeah, as a game, that's probably the most expensive game I've ever purchased. Spent $100 out the gate on it.
Yeah, I was lucky and was gifted the game, and I was gifted the Ultimate Edition. So I got a $100 game for free, sucker.
Do tell.
So my birthday comes around. My birthday's in June, and I had to work that day. So I already know my birthday's going to suck. So I got lucky. I got off a couple hours early. Called the missus. I was like, yes, my plan succeeded. I am leaving right now. And she goes, all right, cool. Well, your daughter and I will be here. So I call my buddy on my way home. I work like 45 minutes away from where I live with no traffic. So you can imagine how far away that is. I call my buddy who works not in my building but the building next door from me, and start talking to him, and he's saying how he's going grocery shopping with his wife and all this crap. And I knew just where my birthday was. There wasn't a whole lot was gonna happen for like dinner or anything like that. So I get home, no expectations, and like everybody's home, and there's a big old surprise, and I was like, oh my god! And
hooray!
Like there was Power Rangers stuff all over the apartment. Dude. It was the best ever. So they say sit your ass down at the chair. I said okay, back off. It's my birthday. Why are you trying to kill me right now? So then my buddy, he like takes a card out from his back pocket, and he like frisbees it across the room for me.
What is he, Gambit?
Dude, it was awesome. And what was even more awesome was I caught that sucker out of the air.
Did you really?
I did. And it had some weight to it. So I'm like, what the hell is this? So I open it up and reading the card. I'm like, oh, so sweet, mushy, blah, blah, blah. And out of the card falls digital download codes for Injustice and the Ultimate Pack.
You son of a bitch.
And I said, and like, as soon as that happened, like, a choir of angels broke out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So then my wife gives me her present, which was a couple of movies, which was awesome. And she goes, okay, now we're going to dinner. And I said,
we staying here.
I said, you got to at least let me get installing on these things. And let me tell you, the way that these digital game cards are now, they're god-awful.
I'm sure.
So I scratched off the little back part. And the way that the stupid little letters and numbers are on there, like, I scratched just a hair too hard, and like half of the code was gone.
Oh, no.
So I had to guess. And thank God I guessed right. But it's not even a code I could put in right into the system.
Yeah.
I had to go to a third-party website, punch in the code, pick my system, get the download code for the game emailed to me, and then punch it into the system.
Are you kidding me?
No, I am not kidding
That's
you.
a thing?
That's a thing. And it was the most convoluted system. After spending 5 minutes trying to figure out what the hell the code was that I deleted.
They should have just given you $100 and you could have loaded it on the damn system from the store.
That would have been great. But then this third-party company ain't getting paid.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Well, screw them.
after going through this process, and thankfully the game card itself was the second one that I did. Don't ask me why I did the Ultimate Pack first. So I at least knew no matter what, I was going to have the game just fine. I get everything on there. Took, like 20 minutes from the time I punched the code into the computer to the time I got the email and the time I started the download. Went to dinner, it's fine. Came home, and I played the game. Came home at, I think, like 7:30. And I played that game until like 2 a.m.
Me too.
I could not stop playing it.
Chanel's like, I'm going to bed. I'm like, cool, enjoy.
That's pretty much how it was. Like, I had to stop because they're like, dude, you need to have some cake. And I was like, dude, I don't want no damn cake.
Dude, funnel it in my mouth as I mash these buttons.
And they were like, we got to sing you happy birthday. And I was like, well, I don't like singing anyways. None of y'all can carry a tune across the street. Why do I need to hear this? And so my wife threatened to unplug the damn Xbox. So I was like, all right, fine. Let me get to a point where I can pause. So I was in the middle of a cutscene for the story mode, like right at the beginning of it. And I was like, well, now y'all got to wait, suckers. So wait and pause the thing. They sing their horrible, god-awful. I swear they were singing it to a funeral march. Happy birthday. And then I had the nastiest cake of my entire life.
You're like, cool, bro. Let me go back to the game now.
I go back to the game, and thankfully my buddy was playing with me. But it got to about 10:30 or so, and he's like, yeah, we got to leave. And I kind of said, that's cool, bro. Bye.
Priorities, man.
Exactly. Man. That game, though, oh my god.
So I had a similar horrible experience. Obviously, yours was more on the backside of things with the digital. Mine was the physical.
Uh-oh.
So I made the conscientious decision that I had planned for this game for months. I took off 3 days from work because it was that serious. I've never taken off time for a game before, so I knew this was going to be a big deal. I spent the whole day before it came out playing the first Injustice. I went through the story mode. I'm like, I'm freaking pumped. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm super excited. So I tell my wife, I'm like, hey, we're going to go there. I already pre-ordered the game like a week ago. Let's just go there and we'll get it going. So we stand in line, we get there, and there's like 2 or 3 people ahead of us. It's not that big of a deal. But the pre-order bonus was that if you got any of the games, you got a shirt, and it had Batman on the front. It was like a jersey, and it looked really freaking cool. And I was super excited. I was like, I've never gotten a pre-order bonus that I've actually enjoyed other than, hey, you get... What'd you get this time? Darkseid if you pre-ordered it?
Yeah.
Cool. Big friggin' whoopee. I wanted something physical. They didn't have any statues, unfortunately, unless you buy like the ridiculously expensive $200 version that has probably something ridiculous for it. I don't know. Anyway, so we get in line. We're standing there, and the guy that was ahead of us like leaves, and so it's just me and one other person, and I'm like, oh sweet, this is for sure I'm getting a shirt. Lady comes out and she's like, hey, just let you know, if you guys are waiting for Injustice, we only have 2 shirts. We have a large and an extra large. And I don't know if anybody knows me. I fit an extra large pretty schmexy. So I was stoked. I'm like, this kid in front of me, he's like 14. He's chubby. He ain't chubby enough where he needs an extra large. He gonna take that large. So we wait. I'm playing Injustice on my mobile phone. Also a great game. Pick it up if you haven't. And I'm just whooping people. I'm like, this game's gonna we're gonna play it all night. So finally they start ushering everybody in, and they're like, okay, everybody in group 1. So I look at my receipt and I'm in horror as I realize for some reason, I have no idea why because I never worked at GameStop, I am group 2. So I watch friggin' 25 people go in ahead of me and pick up their game, and I had to wait an extra 15 minutes to pick that sucker up. And you better believe that the guy in front of me, he was in group 1, so he got his shirt. And then the guy that randomly just came up after leaving for an hour and a half got his shirt too. He didn't have to stand in line like the rest of us fuckers. And yeah, I was pretty pissed, so I probably won't pre-order any games physically anymore. Digitally sounds like the way to go.
Yeah, I'm just sitting here listening to that story, and I'm laughing so hard because I used to work that store, that exact store you stood in front of, for God knows how long. You could have just asked, and I'd have told you what that system's like. But there's a reasoning behind the group system.
Explain it.
So the thought is nobody wants to wait in line all night. And nobody wants to be upset because somebody decided to get there at 4 a.m. the day before to get their gosh darn video game. So the group system is also to help allow it to be a little bit easier in the store in handing out the games. They only let X amount of people in. They get through all of them, make sure they all get the right game, make sure they get the right system, make sure they get the right edition, and then they usher them out, and then the next group comes in. It also, believe it or not, because I worked there before the group system as well, makes people get the hell out of that store faster.
I'm sure.
Don't nobody want to be at a GameStop working until 3 a.m.
No.
Because I've done that too, and it sucks.
I bet you got a lot of avid gamers who are very particular.
That was the Black Ops 2 release.
Oh, dude, I bet that was terrible.
That was god awful.
I remember when I worked at Best Buy, they had that too, and that was like a shit show. There was so many people there, and it was just chaos. Like the way they were trying to organize stuff, not very good. So I can see how a group system would help. But for people like me who did not know about such things and still thought it was the olden times, kind of sucks.
Didn't you get the memo?
No, they didn't even tell me I had a group number. They're just like, here's your receipt. I'm like, okay. Then, of course, I'm not going to look. Why do I care? Right? No reason.
I'm disappointed in you, my son.
Believe me, I'm disappointed in myself, but it will never happen again. Mark my words, or else I will blow up a GameStop. Don't quote me on that.
So anyways, back to the game.
Back to the game. So my point from earlier is, I don't know why people call it a slow style. Yes, it is slower because it's supposed to be realistic. Captain Cold's not going to be able to just like do a gazillion things at once. Like he's a human. So, I mean, pacing wise, it makes sense why the metas obviously have a little bit more quick speed. Like Flash, obviously, he's going to move really fast. And some even would say too fast, but I think not so much.
I fall into that camp of too fast. My fingers can't push buttons that quick.
But if you can, you in some good luck.
Negative base.
No.
Negative base. I'm going to say it right here, right now, and now that it's on record. The Flash is not one of my favorite superheroes.
Really?
I love the show, don't get me wrong, but I am not the biggest Flash fan.
He says this as I sit here in a Flash shirt.
I knew we were going to go that way.
Oh, for sure. Tell me why. Is it because he meddles so much and you're just like, leave it alone, Barry?
Leave it alone, Barry. He does not have the strongest rogues gallery.
He's got some cool ones.
When 90% of your rogues gallery is people who have the same power as you, it's kind of stupid and redundant.
Unfortunately, as happened on the Flash show.
Exactly. Yeah. We've had, 3 years of speedster villains?
They're going with a new one, though.
Yeah, they're going to find some way to tie the Speed Force into whatever it is he's doing.
I hope not.
You know they're going to.
Well, did you see the Comic-Con trailer for that part?
No.
Okay. Are you caught up on Flash?
No.
Oh my god.
Having Chirins changes your life.
I know, but... Oh,
in
God.
some ways, in a lot of ways, it changes your life for the better. But it means some of your hobbies, let's say, have to unfortunately go by the wayside.
As you're referring to your comic book collection that used to be super huge, and it's probably still super huge, but hasn't grown at all.
That's what she said.
True.
This is very true, because kids, while amazing, do take a lot of time and money to raise them correctly.
Yeah. But I bet, man, when you catch up on it... So how far are you? So I can kind of gauge what's going on in your world so far.
How spoilery are we allowed to get? Because it's been months since that season finale.
I'm going to say you're in the clear. So if you haven't watched Flash and you've been living under a rock, I apologize. You can skip probably about 5 minutes of this, but...
I'm like 2 episodes after Barry told Iris that she basically has a timer left on her life.
That's some messed up stuff, right?
Yeah.
And he carried that around for quite a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, dude. So you still probably have, what, like 7, 8 episodes?
Oh, I got too far. I don't even know. Like, I had so many episodes of this show saved on my DVR that I had to delete them to make room for other shit that I was actively watching.
You waited so long that now it's on Netflix for free.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're pretty quick on Netflix though. Like season ends, like 2 weeks later, it's on Netflix.
Yeah, well, that's because they know the new season is starting in like 5 weeks.
Yeah. So did you finish any of the shows then, or no?
Arrow.
Dude. If there was one for you to finish, I'm glad you finished Arrow.
Yeah, that one, no matter what, I find the time for it because I've been there since day one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, I've been there since day one on Flash, but it didn't catch me as quick as Arrow did.
I agree. It was different. Tonally, it was a lot different.
Same thing, Legends of Tomorrow, like, took a season for it to even kick in with me. Like, that first season...
Oh, it's so good.
That first season compared to the second season was garbage.
Which is sad because I really liked the villain.
Yeah. He was boring, though.
He was boring.
The character is amazing,
yeah,
but so boring. Miscast everything, all the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I don't really understand why they did that, but I mean, it is what it is, and it's happened, and they can't take it back. But
true. On the flip side, Supergirl.
Oh yeah.
I remember having to tell you about Supergirl and how great Supergirl was, and you didn't believe me, and then you started watching it, and then you loved it. But Supergirl had an amazing first season. Second season, not so much. I kind of fell off the Supergirl wagon.
Really?
Season 2.
And you know what's funny is I stayed with it afterwards. So it's really funny how this happens, because the only reason I was a little bit anti-Supergirl is because it was on CBS originally, right?
Yes.
And I know everybody's trying to get in the superhero game. Fox had Gotham, which I did grow to really like, but it is hard for me to accept certain things with it because obviously it's way wrong, which I went over a little bit last week. But with Supergirl, the tone of it, and this has a lot to do with the commercial. When it first aired, they put this song called Fight Song on, which I don't know if you've heard that song.
This is my fight song.
That one. That was in the trailer. And then made it seem like it was a girly, let's dress up and fight crime show. And I did not want that. Supergirl is too cool to be reduced to that and like, let's have movie night on the couch with my sister. Which now I actually enjoy when they do things like that. But originally I was like, this show's gonna blow. And I gave it a chance because of you. There was no other reason I gave that show a chance. And then you know what happened is you told me, bro, they're having a Flash Supergirl crossover. And my mind literally exploded. I'm like, you're telling me a show from this network and a show from this network are going to be on the same show together and it's going to be amazing? And it was.
And I remember you like marathoned the entire season to catch up to that point.
Just to get to that point. It was like episode 18. I'm like, I'm going to get there.
No, it was fantastic. The misstep that they made the second season that turned both me and my wife off, because we both religiously watch that show.
She got turned off too?
She got turned off too. They got rid of the character Cat Grant.
She came back.
Yeah, well, like, probably well after we stopped watching it.
Probably.
But she was the glue that held that show together for me.
It's true.
She was fantastic. And it's like, all right, we're starting to get a little bit slower, and I'm kind of not caring about what's really happening. And then she'd pop up, and it's like, oh, my interest is back.
She is a great character. Callista Flockhart is freaking awesome. Now, most of the other roles I've seen her in, she's like the overthinking, caring, voices her opinion, but the way that she does it as Cat Grant is phenomenal. She helps mold characters by being as mean as shit to them, and it's great.
Mr. Smoker!
Dude, you were right. She's literally she has the best one-liners. She has the best everything. She's very much like, to me, and this is probably a bigger example, she's the Robert Downey Jr. of Supergirl.
Yes.
Because Robert Downey Jr., anytime that guy's on screen, he kills everything. With her, she does too. She's the scene stealer supreme.
That should be a superpower.
I agree.
Yes.
If you're that good at your role, hot damn, dude.
I agree. Wholeheartedly. Turned me on. What? I'm sorry.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that was a big deal that I needed to bring up with you. I feel like there's so much stuff we haven't discussed lately.
There is, but at the same time, time is not something that I have a luxury of having anymore. To
That's
be able to
true.
do a lot of things and see a lot of things.
This is very true. Okay, well then, folks, so that'll wrap up the first section. We'll be back in just a moment. We'll be talking about some wrestling. Oh, yeah. Be back in a moment.
Brother.
Welcome back to part 2, and you know what that means. We're going to be talking about some wrestling.
Yeah!
JD's back, of course, for part 2, because guess what? He also likes wrestling. That's why we're besties.
What?
I know. How crazy is that? So I know you said you're not super caught up, but at least you know enough where we can, we'll go over this shit.
Basically.
So as of right now, it's 9:17 at night, which means the whole Raw friggin' results are there. I haven't read them. I probably won't. I'll probably just watch it later. So we're just going to go off of what we thought beforehand. So, last time we talked, I talked about how much Battleground sucked a big sacapuntas. It was terrible.
I agree.
Like every way. Did you watch most of it or part of it?
I watched the entirety of Battleground. I may not be fully caught up on the week-to-week stuff, but I do watch the PPVs, regardless of how garbage they are.
You gotta watch the PPVs, right?
I mean, that's what I pay for. $9.99 a month.
Shout out to WWE Network. Make me a sponsor.
There you go.
Okay, so the biggest thing that I think they corrected, and I know that, so what's funny is when I first watched the AJ Styles and Kevin Owens match, I noticed something was wrong, but I didn't really think too much. I didn't sweat it. I figured maybe they just thought that a decision like that was going to be more of a shock value. But then watching it over and over again, because of course that's what I do, I realized, yeah, that shit looked really, really weird. So I was very happy to see that 2 days later they corrected the situation and gave AJ his title back.
Hooray!
Hooray! Now, I don't know if you heard the first part of the podcast from last week, but I said that I thought that it was an attempt to give AJ a notch on his belt, and that was it. Obviously, I was wrong, but I felt like, based off of what had originally happened, that was the case. Because why give him a title for literally 2 weeks, and give it to him at a house show, mind you, just to have it taken away at a pay-per-view?
Yeah, that was no bueno. No bueno at all, which leads me to almost think that the actual finish of that match was, in fact, a botch.
For sure, botch mania, right?
There you go.
Like, there's no reason to have Kevin Owens win. I mean, other than you want to try to protect his character, because if he loses too much, obviously then nobody gives a shit.
Bray Wyatt.
Oh, don't even get me started. Are you a big Bray Wyatt fan?
Unfortunately.
Unfortunately, have you been one of those people that's like, yeah, he'll come back from it. He'll make good on it.
Unfortunately.
And then he doesn't.
Yeah.
He's what we like to call in the industry as a fuck boy.
I thought glorified jobber, but yeah, let's go with that.
Mine's a little bit more on the risque side, but definitely I love Bray Wyatt. I think he's great. He's so good. He has all the tools to succeed. But does he ever succeed? No. It's because he's in the shit box.
No, it's because he's a heel. Yeah. And WWE still lives in the past where the good guy must always prevail.
Which is terrible because he gets cheered more than half the good guys.
I mean, how many people bust their cell phones out when he comes out? Like
everyone.
Everybody, yeah.
They want to follow the buzzards, which I don't blame them. Dude, I don't own a Brain Wyatt brain. I don't own a Brain Wyatt t-shirt. But if I could, I would. Especially that octopus one he's been sporting lately. That thing is sexy.
Yeah, that's bonus paycheck is going towards that octopus shirt.
Now,
it's badass.
Is that legitimately a Bray Wyatt shirt, or is that just a shirt he's wearing that looks really cool? Because it doesn't say Bray Wyatt anywhere on the shirt.
It's on the WWE shop.
Really?
Yeah.
That was my main thing, because I think he first wore it at WrestleMania, and everybody I had over for my WrestleMania party was like, for sure that's not a WWE shirt. But then I was thinking about it, how many times do they wear non-WWE stuff? Never.
That just brings up a whole nother thing. Why the hell do they gotta promote their own merchandise? Bray Wyatt is not a character that should be promoting his own merchandise.
He's like, hey everyone, follow the buzzards and buy my shirts.
Pretty much. I mean, it's like, if you look back, Undertaker is a huge example. This dude's merch sales were through the roof.
He never once wore his own t-shirt.
No.
He's not an idiot.
No. I mean, John Cena wearing his own t-shirt, that's fine because he's a jerk.
He's like, wristbands, they got my name on it too. Guess what? Nail polish has my name on it too.
Let me see, who else? Like, Triple H only ever really wore the DX shirt, but that's because he was in the DX group.
He usually wears those shirts that has the, like the weird, I'm gonna botch it, but the lettering or the wording from, I think it's Greek or it's Pig Latin, where it'll say different things. Don't even look at me like that now.
He comes out with E pluribus unum on his t-shirt.
You know, I wouldn't doubt that he did. I swear to God, if you look up his t-shirts, they all have weird friggin' sayings on them.
That's true.
So I don't know what language they're in because that's not what I know. I know wrestling. So if his shirt wrestled, I would know what it does, but I don't. And that's a weird analogy. I apologize.
Well, let's keep the train rolling. Back in the day, Kurt Angle, did he ever wear his own t-shirts?
No.
He doesn't wear his own t-shirts now. He wears a suit because he's classy.
And he's snazzy.
And he's sexy. But that's a whole nother topic.
So speaking of Kurt Angle, just because we're on the subject, how'd you feel with the Jason Jordan thing?
I'm not a fan of illegitimate son storylines. Because they are so obviously fake as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, and I like my wrestling storylines to be a little bit more
on
grounded.
The realistic side. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, thinking back to horrible storylines involving illegitimate or children to begin with. I mean, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, that whole horrible feud over Dominic.
Hey, Vato! Your son is my son. Dominic is mine.
Get in my lowrider, ese.
We'll get in a ladder match for your son. Briefcase has the adoption papers, ese.
So bad. So bad. And Eddie Guerrero was so much better than that.
You know what's funny is that match was really good.
I know, but the story was just god awful. And I mean, I know I sound like an asshole talking about the storyline in a friggin' wrestling match.
Dude, that's what this podcast is about. It's about your gripes. It's about your loves. And guess what? Sometimes wrestling has some shit shows. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They sometimes have a shit show.
You mean like how SmackDown has been for the last, months?
I'm talking about, Alexa Bliss or Bailey, This Is Your Life. That's what I'm talking about.
Alexa Bliss is fantastic.
Do you know Alexa Bliss is my favorite female wrestler right now?
She's mine too!
Oh my god, high five. I hope you heard that because it was a legitimate high five. Well, Alexa Bliss is fantastic. I love everything about her. I feel like she totally kicks Charlotte's ass in terms of growth. Charlotte, everybody's big on Charlotte because obviously she's Ric Flair's daughter. But Alexa has carved a path all her own.
Alexa can do something that nobody else on the female roster can do, and that's talk.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, Sasha every now and then, to me, has a decent promo. Charlotte has never had a decent promo.
No, she's like, hey, everyone, listen to my voice.
She sounds like she's reading off a script and almost has somebody in her ear telling her the cadence that she's supposed to speak. But Alexa Bliss is perfect.
On point.
She's perfect.
I didn't even skip This Is Your Life, Bailey, because Alexa Bliss was on it. If she hadn't been on it, I would have fucking fast forwarded that shit 45 minutes ago.
Pretty damn much.
And now let's not even go to the fact that when she originally started in NXT, she was a glittery little butterfly. But now she is the best heel that I've seen in a long time.
I love her combating of what chants, too.
Oh, I know. She's like, losers say what?
My point exactly.
Oh my god, it is so spot on that she's you know what's funny is I listened to an interview with her on Sam Roberts' podcast. I don't know if you listen to that, but it's a really good podcast. Listen to it if you do. If you do, I mean, listen to it if you don't. But yeah, she was talking about how she actually had to get with creative about that because a lot of those things actually really frustrated her. And I'm sure it frustrates lots of wrestlers because, let's face it, nobody wants to have their promo interrupted constantly every other sentence if you talk like William Shatner. And that sucks. And I mean, everybody's doing it in obviously good fun because it's a crowd reaction. That's the whole point of WWE is for you to get involved. But that must really suck to have somebody that doesn't even want you to finish your sentence.
I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. It's not an easy thing that these people who are paid millions of dollars a month to do.
Man, if I got millions of dollars to do what they do, the athleticism by far they would beat me on, but I could be a James Ellsworth.
That's exactly where I was going to go. It could be a James Ellsworth as well. Dude, I can push a ladder with AJ Styles under it.
I'll show you some no chin music for sure.
Shoot, I think everybody has a more chin than Mr. Ellsworth.
You know what's been really sad is since he's been suspended, I have not felt the joy of Ellsworth.
I never felt the joy of Ellsworth.
You never liked James Ellsworth.
I never liked
On the
James
record,
Ellsworth.
This very moment, you never liked him.
I never liked him.
How come?
Because he has a pinfall victory over AJ Styles.
Before that. When
never.
Braun Strowman destroyed him in the very first week that Raw had the brand split, you're telling me you didn't like James Ellsworth. When he's like, any man with two hands has a fighting chance.
No.
What?
No.
Dude, he was my favorite jobber.
No.
No. You're kidding me, right?
No. Yeah,
really?
I'm kidding you. I'm totally kidding you. I'm just kidding.
You're kidding about the kidding?
I don't even know anymore. We're in kiddingception right now.
We're 3 layers deep right now. It's like an onion.
I never liked James Ellsworth. His face alone pissed me off.
Okay, well, this brings me to my next point. Who is your absolute favorite jobber? And it can be a legitimate wrestler. That's fine.
That's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Now you're making me think, and this is not cool.
I like thinking, and I like on the spot.
Let's see. Favorite jobber of all time, other than the Brooklyn Brawler.
I love the Brooklyn Brawler, dude. He's probably top 2 for me.
Well, I mean, that's all he did was job, and he was famous for jobbing. Let's see. Favorite jobber. I'm gonna have to go with... I can't even pick one because it's thinking of...
There's so many.
There's so many.
I'm pretty sure at one point Barry Horowitz, which is a hella old wrestler, definitely was a jobber.
Everybody had to have been a jobber at some point.
My answer is going to really probably disappoint you, so I'm going to let you go first.
Damn it. Now you're really putting me on the spot. You're not even giving me anything to piggyback off.
Okay, I'll give you mine, and then you can shoot the shit, whatever you want to do.
Okay.
You're really going to judge me, and I apologize for this. My favorite jobbers are actually 3-man band.
Yes! Yes!
I friggin' love 3-man band because their theme song was dope. Not only was a ripoff of Heath Slater's one-man band, but they literally, even as a group, lost every frickin' week. And in grandiose fashion, they're like, we're a 3-man band! Pin. Done. It was over with.
Okay, that was pretty good. Well, I mean, if we're going that route, I mean, my favorite would technically have to be someone who has never even actually been in a match since they've been in WWE.
Oh, that's sad.
I'm gonna have to go with the Singh brothers.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
I love watching them get their asses kicked every week.
As I'm sure you are, I'm a big fan of people that can sell moves.
Yes.
Like, I love, like, Ziggler and Rollins are probably my two favorite top sellers because they make everything look painful. But I'm telling you, during that Punjabi prison match, they were literally the best part of that match.
Well, that's not saying much because that match was garbage.
It was so garbage.
But, I mean, at least though what was cool was they had the shot. I can never tell which one is what because they look the same. And that is not a racist comment. They literally look the same.
Last week, I literally couldn't remember any of their names except for Sunil. I don't remember what the other guy's name is.
Yeah. So
Samit?
They had the part where Orton's climbing the prison to go out on the announce table side. And then they had the shot of the one dude. They had it framed perfectly. He freaking ninjas through the cage. Like a kid going down a slide.
He did do that, didn't he?
He goes climbing up. And then it's the slowest punch back and forth after this kid becomes like Spider-Man and flies around. And then he took the best bump of the night.
Oh, through the table?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, with that, do you also find it... So, here's my two gripes. I don't know if you heard them from last week. Gripe number 1. Why did they call it steel reinforced bamboo? Because I didn't see no steel. Was it inside the bamboo? Because bamboo is already pretty strong by itself. Why did you need steel reinforced bamboo? And gripe number 2 is Orton was even able to crawl through the bars. You're telling me that... Obviously, I know Jinder's a big, muscly fuckboy, so you're telling me that he can't crawl through. That's fine. Orton, I saw him through the bars!
Stipulation of the match was you had to climb over and out of that second cage. So, technicality.
Whatever. Upsetting, and I don't like it.
You got mad, bro.
I was really mad, because what's the point? Friggin' Khali pulls him, like, all the way out, and then he magically gets hit in the head once, and he flies all the way back through the other side.
I mean, to Orton's credit, though, I mean, that dude got tore up
he
in
really
that
did.
match.
I agree.
There was that Nash on his arm. I mean...
Those kendo sticks look so painful.
The welts on his back.
Yeah.
Going to that. And then you got freaking back knee Jinder Mahal, who can't sell a freaking punch to the face.
He's the modern day Maharaja, though. What are you talking about?
He's the modern day dumb fuck.
He's the modern day shitfest.
That too. I mean, just the whole title reign. They should have never moved Bray over to Raw because him and Orton was a really good feud.
I feel like Orton's last two feuds have not concluded well. Obviously, he's not getting another shot at Jinder.
No.
That's done.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's not getting another shot ever at Orton, until Bray, until he comes back over. But even the House of Horrors match, while it was really creepy and weird and interesting...
And hilarious.
But it literally ended with Jinder screwing it up, so it was a really bad, non-conclusive finish, like, multiple times. Orton's last 4 matches have all been non-conclusive finishes.
This is true, and it sucks. I mean, I'm not the biggest Orton fan. I find his character to be boring when he's a face.
When he's heel, he's amazing.
When he's heel, he's amazing, yes. But when he's a face, he is the most boring son of a gun ever. And his moveset has never changed. I mean, I'm going to bring up one of the most hated people in the entire wrestling world right now, John Cena. But at least his matches can be interesting to watch because he cares enough to change up his moveset. The first time he hit that springboard stunner,
it was awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
The first time he hit the top rope leg drop,
that was pretty cool too. He's even done some tornado DDTs while off the ropes.
And he's done a whole bunch of other flippy shit, too.
But at the same point, it takes two to tango. You have to have somebody that's going to be able to sell his stuff.
True.
Because obviously, he's a bigger dude, so you're going to want to have somebody that's able to counter with big, dramatic sells. And obviously, a lot of his matches in the past have been against people that are really good at that. And I don't know. I've never seen Cena really sell so well that you're like, oh my god, Cena's gonna lose this. Like, most of the time he's the Superman of the WWE. No offense to Roman Reigns or to Cesaro, who are also known as the Swiss Superman and the Superman Punch guy. So that's kind of funny. But other than that, yeah, I don't know. I've never seen Cena sell so much where you're like, holy crap.
Well, and that's unfortunately the aura that's built up around him.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been Super Cena for, God,
15 years going strong?
Pretty much. I mean, you'd have to go back to see a match where he's getting his ass whooped.
Probably since, like, his first match with Kurt Angle. Did he win that or did he lose that? I'm pretty sure he still lost that.
I'm thinking we're talking back Thugonomics days.
Ooh, basic Thugonomics?
Yes.
Word life. That was my favorite Cena. And, you know, every time he has a promo where a little bit of gangster comes out, I get really excited. I'm not going to lie.
But then he'll always turn into this big old rah, shish boom ba bullshit.
And he's like, salute to the flag. No, you used to talk about how Big Show was smuggling plums in his little singlet. And I thought that was the greatest thing in the world.
Oh, man.
Like WrestleMania, I want to say it was WrestleMania 20 when he had his U.S. title match, and that's the beginning of the Cena era, was when he won the U.S. title against Big Show. He got out the brass knuckles, and he used to be one of those guys you were like, oh shit, he's about to go to the lengths of, like, the depths of down there, and he was still going to win. And it was cool. He's a cookie cutter nowadays, unfortunately.
Yeah, which is really, really terrible. I mean, but on that same level, I mean, his matches with Kevin Owens, fantastic.
They were all good.
His matches with AJ Styles,
all good.
Like, match of the year contenders, every single one of them.
That's true.
But that goes to your point of him needing to be put into a match with somebody who could almost carry him.
I don't in any way form think that Cena's a bad wrestler.
No.
He's great. He's really good. He's honed his craft over a very long period of time. But I feel like you have these new guys who are so well versed in things that are not typical of themselves. So obviously you have Kevin Owens, and he is a bigger dude. Let's face it, when he says he's the new face of America, he ain't lying. America's a bunch of big, overweight people for the most part, and guess what? He moves like he's at least 100 pounds lighter.
He moves like a cruiserweight.
He's doing cannonballs. He's doing all these crazy moves. That's actually toned down from his Ring of Honor days. In Ring of Honor, he was killing it. I haven't seen a, what's it called? A Steamalizer?
Sure.
Oh my god. Do you know about the Steamalizer?
No, I don't know about the Steamalizer.
It's a package pile driver, but he called it the Steamalizer.
That's sexy.
He used to get them in, so he'd grab them and he'd pull them up, and then he would just kind of drop them, but they were in like a nice little, neat little package, and it was great. And I know pile drivers are all forbidden and
unless you're the Undertaker.
Yeah, but I think he also does it. Obviously, he's had way more time than most people to make it the most safest, but most awesome-looking move I've ever seen.
That's true.
Like, however he does it, where he's able to cradle their head in between his legs as he just drops them to the floor, is amazing.
It's called that thigh meat.
Oh, that thigh meat's, like, intact, dude. Mm-hmm. So, funny thing about The Undertaker, since we're on the subject, I know you have the Thank You Taker shirt.
I do.
And I really wanted that shirt because it was great. Do you think he's done?
I do think he's done. He had a full hip replacement surgery.
Yeah.
Immediately after WrestleMania, he's done, dude. He's done wrestling. They wouldn't have given him or let him do that big send-off that he did, dragging WrestleMania well past its 5th hour.
Yeah.
If he wasn't truly done.
Do you feel like he should have won his last match, or are you happy that Reigns won it?
I feel like he should have won the last match. He didn't have the streak anymore.
That's true.
I mean, if he still had the streak, yes, he could lose his last match and put somebody over that way. But he should have beaten Reigns. I really feel like he should have. I mean, I know how old school Taker is, that he wants to put somebody over his last match.
Yeah.
All the respect in the world for that. But we're not in an old school company or old school business anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody you're supposed to be cheering, a.k.a. Roman Reigns, is freaking attempted murder on somebody.
And he's booed out of every building he's ever in.
And he's still considered a face by the company. We're not in that old school era anymore.
Yeah. Like, Lesnar made sense. Lesnar's an old school, or at least at that time, he was an old school heel, and he dominated literally every competitor. It made sense to have him beat The Undertaker and to be that person, because let's face it, who's beaten Lesnar since then? Legitimately.
Nobody.
Except for Goldberg, right?
Goldberg doesn't count.
And that does...
because he's not a person. He is a machine.
No, Brian Cage is a machine for anybody that watches Lucha Underground, because that guy's awesome. Also, shout out to Civic Slam happening August... I want to say... Oh, crap. I just gave a shout out and I don't know the date.
Shame.
I'm so sorry. I'm looking it up. August 25th. Anybody going to Civic Slam on August 25th in Stockton, California? I'll be there. Come give me a shout out. It's going to be an awesome pay-per-view. I don't know if you want to go, if you can clear it with the wifey.
That's a work day.
Guess who is fighting?
Who is wrestling?
It's fighting. It's wrestling. Main event, Cody Rhodes versus Johnny Mundo, a.k.a. John Morrison.
That's pretty sexy.
That's pretty sexy.
How terrible is the undercard?
It's pretty unknown, I'll tell you that much. I don't know if you've watched Lucha Underground ever.
I did with you when we worked in the same building, but that's about it.
Because I forced you.
That's about it.
I was like, oh yeah, listen to my Hispanic wrestling. I'm not going to lie, that show is still great, and anybody who is a wrestling fan that has not found an alternative to WWE because they are the monster that they are, I definitely recommend that. TNA obviously is kind of fallen by the wayside.
TNA isn't a thing anymore. It's GFW except for Thursday nights when they're on.
Global Force Wrestling bought TNA?
No, they merged, and because Jeff Jarrett is the big cheese of Impact Wrestling, because TNA as a company died when Anthem bought the company.
That's really sad.
Yeah, so the whole official umbrella is Global Force Wrestling.
Really?
But Thursday nights, it's still Impact Wrestling.
That's so sad.
It is dumb.
You know, the last time that you and me really had an interest in TNA was when I first was like, bro, we gotta watch this Matt and Jeff Hardy broken thing. It's literally the best thing you'll ever see on TV.
And it was.
It was great. Now, I don't know if you're as concerned as I am, but like I'm kind of over the Matt and Jeff Hardy reunion of like old.
They need to be broken again.
Yeah, they need to be broken up and broken. Because that was some of the best TV I've ever seen, and it was so weird that I just compelled me to watch it.
Well, and I hate to say it, but I mean, they have, where they're at on Raw right now, there's the perfect person, if it's not going to be a chain of events that leads to that broken gimmick, there's the perfect person there to break them. And unfortunately, someone you're not a big fan of, Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
I mean, the story writes itself.
Yeah.
Bray kidnaps Jeff, and Matt goes through all these lengths to try to rescue him. And in the process, his sanity is broken, And Jeff, when he finds him, is comatose, and there you got Brother Nero now, and then, boom, you got Matt Hardy in his broken gimmick. But, unfortunately, I don't think if they do go broken, they're going to allow Jeff to break with them, because I think WWE feels he's more marketable as Team Extreme Jeff Hardy.
Oh, for sure. And, I mean, unfortunately with that, they've already kind of said they want to do, like, a title run with him, even. Because when he was a big deal, like Cena's shirts, like forget about it. Like Jeff Hardy was the shirt seller at that time. But so here's my point that I made kind of last week is I feel that they've already played a lot of the gimmick cards on TV. They're doing the delightfuls. They're making the broken jokes. They're making the obsolete jokes. Like what at the same point when that actually happens, are people going to buy into the fact that these are new characters to at least us, or are they going to just be like, yeah, we were this once and now we're this again?
I don't know, because go back to WrestleMania, go back to the Raw after WrestleMania. How natural did those delete chants come out?
So natural.
I mean, they walked out and it didn't even take Matt doing the delete sign with his hand, and people were delete, 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 which is still fantastic, by the way.
Oh, I love it.
Oh my gosh. And he can't decide if he's doing the V1 sign or if he's doing the arms out.
The arms out is hilarious. Then he opens his mouth and he looks like a crazy person.
Yes, I love it. I love it. There's actually, speaking of that, was a video I watched on YouTube where a dude kind of booked how they would break Matt and Jeff, and it focused on when Sheamus kicked Jeff's tooth out.
I thought that was going to happen too. For sure I thought that was going to happen.
Like, he was literally broken.
Yeah.
And the whole theory or whole fantasy booking was they don't hurry and fix Jeff's broken tooth. Like, he has to be okay with having a missing tooth for X amount of weeks. And, like, they go through and they do their normal promos backstage, but then, like, Jeff would walk away and Matt would just be standing there with his fist closed, because he would have it closed through the whole promo. And then he'd open his fist up, and inside his hand was Jeff's tooth.
Oh,
and he would be, like,
my God.
transfixed on it.
That would be crazy.
And then the whole thing goes, and of course it's Bray Wyatt doing the breaking, because that's kind of his character. And it leads to this whole drawn-out feud with Bray, and this whole drawn-out feud past that. I don't remember who the fantasy booker was, or who he was booked up against. But this, like, drug on for, like, months. So it was a very gradual change to that broken nature. There was a whole, like, Jeff trying to tell him, you don't need to do this, man. We're good how we are. We're awesome. And then Matt, like, totally just being like, well, blank you, Jeff.
Of course.
That was What Culture Wrestling is the channel that
that's
did this
pretty on
booking.
point. I'm not gonna lie. That would have been great.
Yeah, Mr. Big shout out to his name is Plumpy now, because he
Plumpy?
lost a bet. But yeah, Plumpy, you the man.
He lost a bet?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's terrible. That's a terrible name. I like more of the bets you told me where they would have to drink like terrible things if they lost. The whoever got the most amount of predictions wrong.
Yeah, that was the loss, was he had to legally change his name to Plumpy.
Oh,
and
shit.
he's still Plumpy. I think it was after WrestleMania he had to change his name to Plumpy, and he's been Plumpy ever since.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
It's really not, though.
You get used to it?
You get used to it, and the punishments that the other guys had to do is so much worse.
I bet.
There was one that caused him actual health problems. He had to drink
God.
shots of hot sauce. I don't remember which pay-per-view it was, but I knew it was after WrestleMania. And he had to take 3 progressively hotter hot sauce shots. And
say that 5 times fast.
I'm not going.
No, don't do it.
But he actually got an ulcer from the hot sauce.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
You know the guy on Hot Ones? Do you ever watch Hot Ones?
No, I'm boring. I'm sorry.
You should check it out. YouTube has some gems sometimes, but Hot Ones is really good, especially if you want to see people do progressively like crazy hot sauces. And they're all celebrities, but they have to keep up the interview while having these hot sauces. And the guy that's the facilitator, he's done them all. Like, he's usually pretty good at it, so he can ask the questions, but you'll see some people crack. Other people, they sail through it like it was no problem whatsoever. So I think that is such an interesting concept. But, yeah, that sucks.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. Where were we? We're so derailed at this point, dude.
I know, that happens. Okay, so here's my next thought. Guess what, y'all? I called it about that Fatal 4-Way last week now, didn't I?
Indeed.
Indeed. Who do you think's coming out of this?
That's a tough one. Logic and the way that WWE books points to Roman Reigns.
Unfortunately.
I can almost guarantee that they are not going to let Brock Lesnar walk out with the belt because he's a part-timer.
Yeah.
So somebody else has to leave with the belt. I want it to be Braun Strowman.
Oh my god. I'm not finished with you yet!
Braun Strowman would be fantastic, or Samoa Joe getting the nod would be great.
Yeah.
But my gut, unfortunately, is telling me they're going to give it to Reigns.
You know, here's the thing, and I've always had this problem with champions who are face, is I always think they're better when they're chasing the title. When they eventually get the title, it's awesome, but it's very much of a brief, fleeting moment. Then you're like, okay, like when Daniel Bryan won at WrestleMania.
That was fantastic.
His next feud was against Kane, and it was the most underwhelming feud I've ever seen.
Well, it was also wrestling through that feud severely injured as well.
That's
so
very
remember
true.
That.
That's true, but at the same time, like, Kane, I love Kane, but no.
Gonna be Governor Kane soon. Or no, Mayor Kane. I'm sorry. He's gonna be the mayor.
Mayor Glenn Jacobs.
I'd vote for him.
I would too.
But
with the contacts on, of course.
Unfortunately, I can't. I can totally see with WWE because Vince McMahon has a total hard-on for Roman Reigns, which is terrible. And the only thing I hope that if he does win it, he holds it till WrestleMania and then loses it on the grandest stage.
Because he's like, I've headlined how many WrestleManias? I think I'm cool. And I think it's been like, what, the last 2 or 3?
Yeah, I want to say at least 3.
Because he did Lesnar versus him at WrestleMania 31.
Yeah, 3. And then Triple H versus Reigns.
Was that 32?
Yeah.
And that was the main event, huh?
That was the main event. And
oh
then
my God.
versus The Undertaker.
So he's headlined 3 WrestleManias. This would be his 4th. He does not need that. Now, I know, obviously, they want to build him up as the next John Cena, but obviously that's not going to happen.
I want him. Okay. Here's a little bit of fantasy booking. You know they're going to end up giving John Cena the record title run.
For sure.
You know it.
He ain't going to...
I want him to beat Reigns at WrestleMania.
That would be really good.
You would give John Cena what I mean, as polarizing as he is, if anyone deserves to beat Flair's record, it's kind of going to be Cena.
And that's funny because then you're pitting the fans against who they hate and who they really, really hate.
Exactly.
And of course, I'm going to vote for Cena.
Mm-hmm. And then you're also giving the fans what they want by having Reigns lose at WrestleMania again.
That's pretty fantastic. I'm not going to lie. Now, my theory was definitely a little bit more off the rails from that. Uh-oh. I don't know if anybody watched the recent pay-per-view for UFC where it sounds like Lesnar's going to kind of go back to UFC. They said he was in testing just a few weeks ago. But it's funny because people like him and Brett Favre who retire and then come out of retirement, like they just put a bad stain on things, like either stay retired or don't retire.
Yeah.
But I think that's interesting that would be a fight. John Jones versus Lesnar would be really friggin' crazy, especially with the 40-pound difference on them. But so for sure, Lesnar's out. I think personally, Braun's going to win it. Just because I think that'll be an interesting way to go with it. Of course, I would say Reigns is going to eventually win. But I would rather... Now, here's the thing with Cena, is that Cena is listed as a free agent. So yes, he can float between technically whatever brands he wants. And they have been alluding to a feud between Reigns and Cena for quite a while. But at the same time, they've done that with other wrestlers, and I don't really know which ones are going to stick, which ones are not going to stick. They also alluded that they were going to have a Jinder Cena feud, and that might even just become a one-off at SummerSlam, so who really knows? I think that I don't really want to see Cena on Raw, even though I think he's a big attraction. Obviously, everybody likes him, but I kind of think SmackDown needs him.
SmackDown, after the Superstar shakeup, got tore up, man.
They really did.
They took out The Miz, who I love. They took out Bray Wyatt, who I am on record as saying I love. Just the loss of The Miz alone, man.
And not to mention, they were both on one of the hottest streaks for both of them that they had ever experienced in their career.
Yeah, and I guess, apparently, I guess, I don't remember what behind-the-scenes newsletter or whatever reported it, but the plan was, after Bray lost the belt at WrestleMania, him and Orton were going to feud through SummerSlam, and Bray was going to get the belt back at SummerSlam. But then, I guess, WWE decided, well, now's the time we need to push into the Indian market. Let's put it on some dude who just got jacked up on roids, who's actually Canadian.
Is he really Canadian?
He's really Canadian.
That's disgusting.
It really is.
He's always been kind of jacked, though. Let's face it. Like, not as jacked as he is now, because I've never seen veins on an ab before, which is really creepy. But for sure, he's more jacked than he's ever been, but he's always been a little jacked.
Go back and watch when he first came into WWE, dude. He looked like a normal dude.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a little bit of pudge in parts, man.
But they don't even allow roids.
Allegedly,
but then you have Lesnar who loses at UFC because he got drug tested, and then they don't suspend him for WWE. They're like, separate organizations. We don't need to drug test Lesnar.
It's like there's a little Yoda. Test him, you do not need.
Champion, we need him as.
Pretty much, but he might even be kind of like exempt from those kinds of tests because of his label as a part-timer.
Which is stupid.
Dumbest thing ever. Why are you going to put your belt on a part-timer?
Because, one, it draws heat. People get pissed about that type of thing. And the internet wrestling community is friggin' always livid, like, all the time. And it's funny, if they started more podcasts, I think they would let their aggression out a little bit more.
But, okay, go back to when The Rock came back and wrestled a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
When he won the belt at the Royal Rumble. He only held it until WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And didn't he wrestle at the whatever pay-per-view it was?
Which one? Whatever
one was after Royal Rumble. He wrestled against CM Punk and beat him.
That was at the Royal Rumble, I thought. Unless I'm wrong.
No, you're right. He had a title defense that he won. Which I think it even might have been a rematch against CM Punk.
That's a possibility because, you're actually right. So I think it was Elimination Chamber and I think it was Royal Rumble, and then there was no other pay-per-view. Or no, it was Royal Rumble, then Elimination Chamber, then WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then that's when he fought Cena.
Yeah, and lost.
And tore his abdomen. Who tears your abdomen?
The Rock does because he's the best.
No, because they spent the whole match waving their arms at each other and doing each other's finisher moves.
But the point is...
I'm sorry, a little off track. I get mad about that match, I'm not going to lie.
Even the Rock, as a part-timer and a huge Hollywood star, wrestled and defended the belt more than Lesnar has.
But he's like the big, what Paulie D always says. He says, why wrestle for free when you can do it and get paid? So they do it for the big events, and they don't even do it for all the big events. They do it for sprinkled in. Paulie D's a wise man.
Brock Lesnar should not hold a belt unless he's going to at least defend it on every pay-per-view.
I realized I call him Paulie D when his name's Paulie H, so I apologize. I don't know. Paulie D just sounded cool because it's Jersey Shore. But yeah, no, I agree. He should defend it on every pay-per-view. The fact that they had to basically make 2 pay-per-views dedicated to finding out who the number 1 contender is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, I'm for the occasional, throwaway B show him not wrestling on, but come on, man.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, you did bring him in for Great Balls of Fire,
Which I really enjoyed that pay-per-view.
That was a fantastic show. Horrible name.
Horrible name.
Fantastic. And the logo looked like a cock and balls.
It really did.
I felt so bad. I had to, like, pull my wife up to the TV, and I was like, how do you not see it? And then she questioned my sexuality.
You know, when you oh my God, what am I saying? When you spot incognito dicks and balls, then you know that you're just good at finding things. It doesn't mean you're gay. It just means you know how to find shit.
I was fantastic at Where's Waldo.
Oh my God, me too.
So, but yeah, I mean, okay, let's, on that topic, pay-per-views. Night and day between Great Balls of Fire and Battleground.
You know, but at the same time, and this is historically what I've seen, the pay-per-view before the biggest event of the summer is always shit.
But why has that got to be SmackDown's show every time?
That's also true. It should not be SmackDown's responsibility to be like, hey, we're going to be the B show and the B pay-per-view before the big pay-per-view.
We're going to be the B show and the D pay-per-view, because that pay-per-view was god-awful.
The problem with SmackDown is they have really good week-to-week shows, but their pay-per-views, they always have to end up making it up to fans the night after, which should not be the thing. It should be like, why don't you just get it right the first time? Now, obviously, I know they want to go for the whole intrigue angle and make it where, like, hey, you weren't expecting that, right? But why waste a pay-per-view where people are actually spending, you know, if you don't have the network, you're spending $50 to $60 for a pay-per-view. Do I want to see garbage for $50-$60? No. I'm also not an idiot that would spend that. I would just get the network for $9.95. Shout out to WWE. But, like, literally, like, don't waste people's money so they can tune in on actual cable television the next night and be like, oh, yeah, that was much better. Same thing with Night After WrestleMania, which kind of pisses me off sometimes.
Yeah. But at least the night after WrestleMania, regardless of if they do the repeat matches or not, you got that crowd.
The crowd is always amazing. Now, surprisingly, I believe they were in Philly for this most recent pay-per-view, Battleground. Mm-hmm. They were surprisingly quiet.
Because it was surprisingly a shit show.
But historically, usually if it's a shit show, won't they say, like, boring or do something or just react in general?
That's how pissed off and bored they were. They weren't even going to give it any attention.
That's really sad.
Well, I mean, when you lead off with, in my opinion, the match of the night, and you end with, for whatever reason, the Great Khali coming back.
Dude, with his stick legs?
Oh, yeah. God. And then he didn't even get to come out to his own music. He came out to Jinder Mahal's music.
Which was funny. I'm like, you're telling me you're going to take away the Great Khali's? Now, I don't remember who it was. Was it Natalya that was like his lady for a while?
Yes.
That's really disgusting. And the fact that she's in a title match, good for her, man. Getting away from Khali was the best thing.
Pretty much. And that fart gimmick, too.
I love the fart gimmick.
What's wrong with you, man?
There's some things that just really hurt me to watch, and other things I'm like, that was gold. I don't even care what anybody else says.
Well, and then, you know, going on to more crap from this pay-per-view. We were supposed to get the whole conclusion of the Brazongo, like, quadrilogy.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't happen.
I may be really...
It was us! No, it wasn't, because you weren't there.
That's true. And then they got knocked out and dragged away.
Stupid.
So I may be really stupid for asking this. What does the truth is not H mean?
I don't know. Because
that's their whole, like, slogan at the bottom of the Fashion Files. What does that mean?
I don't think we're supposed to know.
Oh, that's so stupid. I love Brazongo. Don't get me wrong. I feel like those are two talents who were wasted, or they got bad booking, or whatever the case may be. And they went down a really bad path, and they finally found something that they're good at.
You know what's fantastic, speaking on that? Tyler Breeze.
I love Tyler Breeze.
He was actually interviewed about how he felt about his standing on the card, and he he said as long as the checks cash, he doesn't care what they do with them.
Really?
He don't give a fudge.
That's so funny because he's so good.
He is. But he's like, hey, I mean, if they want to pay me hundreds of thousands of dollars a week to go get my ass kicked, I'm cool with it.
What an asshole. That's what I want to be able to say. Do you know Kurt Hawkins recently celebrated his 100th loss in a row?
That's fantastic.
And guess who pointed it out?
Who?
Our boy Finn Balor.
Yes!
He took a picture with him, and good old Finn was like, congrats to my boy Kurt Hawkins. 100th loss.
Good Lord.
That's really sad.
That's like the best streak in wrestling right now.
That's the best streak. That's better than Gilbert. Because I'm sure Gilbert at least won a match or two.
That was something I watched recently. I went back and I was watching the Monday Night Wars on WWE Network for $9.99 a month, and they had a Goldberg episode, and it was that whole series is fantastic if you haven't watched it.
The Monday Night Wars series?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
The Goldberg episode was how they showcased how they built him up, but then him being stupid and tearing up his arm by punching out the limo, and then him being out and then never capitalizing on his star power when he came back.
Yeah.
And then going and showing the WWE not giving a shit at all about this dude with Gilbert getting scared by sparklers. And he's just walking around pretending like, the whole time. It was fantastic.
Gilbert's great, dude.
He really is. And then he won the light heavyweight championship.
That's
because
sad.
What WCW does good, WWE got to do bad.
That's how they do it. They got to make fun because they know they're losing in some aspects, but it's funny because I feel like Goldberg had all the potential in the world when he came to WWE to succeed.
Oh, yeah.
And yet he failed miserably. And I don't really know why. I know the way he was booked, obviously. Like the second ever Elimination Chamber, right?
Yeah.
He lost to Triple H, right?
Yeah.
So that's just funny that, you build up this guy for years on WCW. You see the potential of a main star, and then years later you try to do the same thing with Ryback. And obviously the time has passed. You had a star who was already in a perfect position to do that, and you let him lose multiple times to only get maybe one of his only victories over Lesnar at WrestleMania. It's just kind of like, huh. Oh, yeah, the only person he's ever beaten is Lesnar and Owens. Right?
He did beat Triple H eventually for the belt because he held the World Heavyweight Championship.
Really? For how long?
Like a couple of months, because I think that was when WWE was schizophrenic with their champions.
Probably.
But yeah, he lost. If I remember correctly, he lost the belt, or he didn't win the belt at the Elimination Chamber because that I believe that was at a SummerSlam.
Yes.
He didn't win the belt there after he freaking eliminated everybody but Triple H. And then I think the next pay-per-view, he won the belt.
Oh, I don't remember that.
I really do. But it's like, why not put that moment on your second biggest pay-per-view instead of a blow-off B show?
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Goes back to our original point.
I don't know, man. The whole... They just need a whole different team of bookers in WWE.
I agree. I feel like we could do this job like no problem.
Oh, absolutely. And we'd be fantastic at it. And give me money, my checks, I cash them.
We make bank. We be banging.
All two of them.
So, something I believe you've told me in the past is you're a big Bayley fan.
Oh my god, yes. I'm a hugger.
So, what's going on with Bayley?
She's hot still, to me.
She's not on fire. I mean, she's a little bit on fire right now. She beat Sasha Banks last week.
She is being used so terribly by WWE, and she's like one of my favorites, and it pisses me off.
It really pisses me off too.
Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, her finisher is garbage, but
what's her finisher again?
a belly to belly suplex.
Oh yeah, the Bayley to Bayley or Bayley to belly, Bayley to belly or
How
Bayley
many
to
fingers
Bayley?
am I holding up?
Like 7.5.
But I mean, she can tell a story in the ring.
Oh, for sure.
Like, better than, I want to say, 75% of that women's roster.
Yep.
Is she the best talker? No. That's Alexa Bliss.
No, that's our girl.
Is she the best technician in the ring? No. That unfortunately goes to Charlotte.
Yeah.
And Natalia, too.
Surprisingly.
She's amazing in the ring.
Yeah.
Hell, I think Naomi beats her, too. But she's just super athletic. Anyway, I'm sidetracked. I apologize, internets.
Interwebs.
But she can sell. Not as good as Sasha Banks. Because I think she dies every time she goes into that ring.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But she can tell a very cohesive narrative in that ring. Like, go back to her and Sasha. Was it
Brooklyn Takeover?
Yeah.
2?
That match was amazing.
I agree.
Oh my god. That struggling face against the dominant heel who made her best friend cry at ringside. That was fantastic.
You know what's funny? In a lot of ways, NXT has something that WWE does not. And I know that has a lot to do with it being Triple H's baby and all that. But they tell stories so well.
Yep, I agree.
And I feel like it never translates to exactly what it was on NXT when they get to WWE. Case in point, like Shinsuke. Shinsuke was great on NXT.
Shinsuke
Nakamura. But he's great, and I love him. His first match with Sami Zayn at TakeOver was so freaking good.
Oh my
it was
God.
the most hard-hitting thing, and I believe that was the night before WrestleMania, right?
Yes, it was. It was Sami Zayn's last match in NXT, too.
And before he did the ladder match and hit Kevin Owens with that really good suplex into the ladder, right?
Oh, yeah, with it up on its side.
Oh, dude, that was brutal.
That was brutal. Kevin Owens likes to kill himself in ladder matches.
What is that, a snap suplex?
Sure, let's go with that.
Let's go with that. But, yeah, no, it's really sad because I have such high hopes for these people. Bayley, I thought for sure she had every recipe to succeed because she has such a big fan base. She's great with kids. She could literally be the John Cena of women, but she's not for whatever reason. She's just not clicking. And I think, like you said, to your point, it has a lot to do with the writing and creative that have given her. And they just had her on this horrendous losing streak. Now, believe me, if I had the choice between Alexa Bliss and Bayley, I'd probably go Alexa Bliss. So I understand why they did that. But I feel like they gave Bliss the title way too early. She's like, hey, I show up on Raw and now I'm the women's champion.
Well, I mean, I feel like she should have stayed on SmackDown with Charlotte going over to SmackDown.
Yeah.
Because that build would have been fantastic.
It would have been amazing.
And it would have been carried by Bliss because we've already pointed out Charlotte's a horrible talker.
Yeah.
Horrible talker.
She just dresses up like a peacock and hopes that distracts everybody.
True that. But I mean, you're right. I mean, how many of these people coming up from NXT have actually been treated with the reverence they deserve?
Not a lot.
I mean, the only person
Samoa Joe?
I can think of 3 that are being treated either as well as they were in NXT or better. Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, and unfortunately, Baron Corbin.
Oh, for sure, dude. I agree wholeheartedly with that. Every of my favorites, Sami Zayn, Shitsville. Friggin' Nakamura, he could be doing better. I think he just needs a stand-up match. Apollo Crews, I had so much faith in. And that guy tanked.
Where is he now? I don't even know. Is he on Raw? Is he on SmackDown?
Titus Worldwide?
But, I mean, Nakamura, man. I mean, he went from the star of NXT to Dick Kick City.
Yeah.
That was a horrible finish to what was actually a pretty decent match.
Now, that could also go back to our conversation about how literally they should have called Battleground Screwy Finish.
Yeah.
And that would have been more accurate of a pay-per-view name because all of them were screwy finishes.
Except
pretty
for the
much.
first match.
Except for the first match, which was New Day, right?
Yeah.
And that match... New Day! New Day is so good at what they do, and I feel like this current feud they're going to be on, unfortunately still with the Usos, because I still think the Usos are a little bit of garbage right now.
What up, Oos?
Yo, Oos! What's going on in the asylum, Oos? I'll tell you, nothing. That's what's happening. They're a bunch of shits.
Is this whole feud, like, other than being around the title, built up around a stupid rap battle?
Not to mention that rap battle they've had to edit since then, because I don't know if you caught this, but the Usos made a comment to Xavier Woods. They're like, don't get R-rated like your boy Xavier Woods, talking about the sex tape with him and Paige. And they have since cut that out of every time they make mention of that rap battle.
Which is like 4 times a night.
Oh, yeah.
How many times they bring up that rap battle, like, during the match?
And it's literally always the part where they're talking about Xavier calling out the Usos for being on Total Divas, which I get, low blow. But that's really going to be the thing that starts the feud, is you guys talk about that.
Pretty much. And if New Day does not walk out of SummerSlam with the belts, I'm going to probably cry, number 1, and then never watch SmackDown again.
That's a bold statement.
I know it is.
It's very brazen, and I appreciate it.
Now, is that going to really be the case?
No.
I don't know.
Maybe Breezango will win.
That would make me happy.
Triple threat!
A Breezango New Day feud would be comedic gold.
I said that before. I think they are the 2 top comedic acts. And what's funny is I feel like that would help New Day evolve as a tag team, because let's face it, New Day's great, but they've done the same shtick for a while. They've introduced, the most recent thing they've done different is they've introduced us to ice cream.
Yeah, but that was before Kofi got hurt.
That's true.
And then they were gone for a long time. Although I did like them mixing it up with Kofi and Woods being in the match.
I agree. Now, I feel that Big E is a great hot tagger.
Yeah.
But something about those two, Kofi and Xavier, shows the athleticism that is great for like your high flyer tag team. And it's really good. Now, they're both great sellers. Kofi has been around in this industry forever.
This
is great.
True. And he looks the same as he did when he debuted.
Yeah, his abs still look like his chest looks like it broke.
Yes.
You remember how his boobs just separate like in such a way that you're like, God damn, that guy worked out too hard and he popped something.
Yes.
And you know what? I don't care. He's still great. He still does some of the best spots. Now, I don't remember if you remember a few weeks ago on Raw where they when he was going to jump out of the ring and he kind of bounced on the rope for like a good 4 or 5 times, and then he flipped out onto them anyway, and it was so perfectly timed.
No, I don't remember that.
Oh, dude, there's some sequences that make you go, holy shit. So last but certainly not least, we shall be giving our predictions for the upcoming SummerSlam event of the summer. Don't be touching my dust. What are you doing?
That's what she said.
That's literally there for show. We are going to be giving our thoughts on some of the big matches that have not been officially announced. I mean, some of them have, but a lot of them are kind of hearsay speculation. Number 1, Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon. Now, do you think this is going to happen? And if you think it's going to happen, who do you think is going to win?
I don't think it's going to happen because I feel like Shane McMahon at this point in his career, or not even career because he was gone for so long, but in his life, I think his kids are sick of seeing him get the crap beat out of him.
Every match.
Every single match. And I feel like it's an attraction better saved for WrestleMania.
I agree. Now, do I think it may happen? There's a big possibility, but I would hope not. I know for a long time they even planned a Lesnar versus Shane match. And let's be honest, there's no way that Shane would have won that either. So I think he's better left just on the shelf, being a general manager. Have a lackey fight him. Bring in a new superstar that hasn't debuted yet and be like, you can't fight me, but if you want an opportunity, fight
Luke Harper.
Or, bring up, who's the big guy in NXT right now? Bobby Roode.
There you go.
Once he loses to...
That would be a really good match, actually.
Right? That would be fantastic, and I guarantee you're not going to find a heel more over than Bobby Roode in NXT right now because he's the glorious one.
Glorious!
Something like that I think would be really cool. Match number 2. This one kind of seems like a given, unfortunately, and I don't really care about it. would be like Big Show versus Cass or Big Show and Amore versus Cass. Either way, I think it's not going to be a good match.
They're gonna do something with Enzo and Cass. Whether or not the Big Show's involved, who knows? I have no opinion on this being a thing or not.
We'll just say Big Cass wins because it seems like they're going to position Big Cass to win. Like
LOL, Cass wins.
LOL, lols. Next up would be the Hardys, who are predicted to face the Club and the Revival. Honestly, I think it's probably just going to be a good old-fashioned one-on-one against the Revival with the Hardys, and I'm hoping that'll lead to their broken and they'll finally lose and just get over it, but what are you thinking?
I don't care.
That's the correct answer, ladies and gentlemen.
I honestly don't care. As long as the Hardys are stuck in their gimmick limbo, I just don't care.
I think it's funny that the Revival's finishing move is called the Shatter Machine. What's another word for shatter? Broken. Maybe that'll be the move that breaks them.
Mind blown.
Bam! I just thought of that too. That wasn't the alcohol talking. Next one. So I know you and me are going to take different sides on this. The predicted match is Cesaro and Sheamus versus Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. I'm assuming for the tag titles. My guess is that it's going to be a triple threat between Miz, Rollins, and Ambrose, and I think Rollins is finally going to take home the bacon.
See, I don't think so. They've been teasing this whole Rollins trying to be friends with Ambrose for too long. For them to have a triple threat where it's two of them against one dude, I feel would be counterproductive in terms of the storyline, but who knows? This is WWE. So I kind of feel like a tag team match where they're going for the belt would be a good way to kind of end that story with them taking the belts from Cesaro and Sheamus.
So my only question for that is, Rollins is supposed to be a big deal right now, being the cover star for 2K18 and stuff. You think really him in a tag team feud is the best for him, or do you think after that they're going to finally start pushing him a little bit more?
I think after that they're going to start pushing him a little bit more, because how long has it been since he's really been relevant at all in any storyline since WrestleMania?
None.
Exactly.
It's been sad.
Put a strap on him and go from there, regardless of what strap it is.
See, I agree with that. As long as he wins a strap at SummerSlam, I'm cool with it. He needs a belt, though, like immediately.
And he needs to go back to being a heel. I'm sorry. He's a much better heel with his ha, 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 ha than anybody else.
His fake laugh is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. There was one time he did a memorial. Oh, was it for Dean Ambrose? When he had Kane with him and everything.
It might have been.
And he had a poster up and he's like, ha, ha, ha. And I just lost my shit. He was the be-all, end-all, worst laugher I've ever heard, but it was great. That I don't think's going to happen at all. There's a projected SummerSlam match that AJ Styles is going to face Chad Gable. No. AJ Styles is definitely going to be in the U.S. title scene for SummerSlam.
I mean, I could see it maybe if Styles does bring back the
Open Challenge,
yeah, and he doesn't have an opponent for SummerSlam. Okay, but I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, no, and I feel bad for Gable because he's not a bad wrestler, but right now AJ's on too hot of a streak, coming on his second U.S. title run, to be dealing with that. So the other rumor is the triple threat, which could also be as one-on-one. Jinder Mahal, Shinsuke Nakamura, John Cena. Who's going to win tomorrow night in the number one contenders match? My guess is no one. My guess is it'll be a triple threat, and then Cena's going to gracefully kind of wander over to Raw.
See, I'm going to go with my heart. And my heart, and what I really want, is for Cena and Nakamura to put on a 5-star classic on free TV.
5-star classic.
And Nakamura ends up going over Cena.
I would hope.
Do I think Cena will win a big championship? I do think so. But I think they're going to save that moment for WrestleMania. I really do. Who it's against, who knows. But it will be a WrestleMania thing. I do not think he will have a championship match at SummerSlam.
Question. If he wins the Universal title, does he technically not tie with Flair?
Ooh.
Because it's a different title than the world title.
It is a different title, but it is still the big belt on a show.
That's true. So
And
you'd give it to him?
I'd give it to him at Mania, but not SummerSlam. I think SummerSlam will be Nakamura's coming out party.
I really hope so. If I'm done with Jinder, let's get some Shinsuke up in that. Now, my hope is, I think we're both hoping for the same result as for Shinsuke to win.
Yes.
Do I think that'll happen? I'm hoping because I'm over Jinder. He needs to just go away.
Unfortunately, though, like if you go back and look, I think the heels have a bigger tendency to win at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Versus the faces at WrestleMania.
Agreed. The women's matches we'll just go over briefly. I would say for sure Alexa's probably going to win. Okay, I'll notify you while we're laughing in just momentarily because it's literally the worst thing I've ever seen in my life. We were on What Culture, and their prediction for the number one match that was going to occur was John Cena and Randy Orton versus the Singh brothers and the Great Khali. In no way, shape, or form is that ever going to happen.
But if it did, it would be fantastic.
I could see that happen, but I really hope it doesn't because, God, that would suck. What a waste. Oh, my God. Anyway, I think Alexa Bliss is going to lose finally, unfortunately, to Bayley. I'm hoping not, but I think it will happen. Naomi, I think, retains.
Naomi, I think, retains. Even though in my heart of hearts, I want Natalya to have one last championship run at least. And at least make it a decent run. Make it a good run.
Oh, yeah. She could do good.
Not just I'm going to the next pay-per-view and dropping it to whoever draws the I'm going to win the championship out of a hat thing. Bliss and Bayley. That's a tougher one to predict. I mean, they're kind of teasing a Sasha Banks heel turn, don't you think?
Yeah.
A little bit.
And I think that's kind of ideal. What I'm assuming would happen, and that actually is a good point because I forgot about Sasha. She showed very good characteristics of a heel last week after she lost to Bayley because she didn't want to be very sportsmanlike about it. My feeling is if she does get involved like she used to do with the Charlotte matches, is that she's going to turn on Bayley and then they'll have the feud and Alexa can continue her championship reign, which is ideal for me because then you have Sasha as the new bad bitch.
And that's what I honestly think is going to happen. I think it's going to end up being where Bayley has Alexa's number in the match, but Sasha comes out and costs her the belt.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And it sets up for a fantastic feud between Sasha Banks and Bayley because we know they have fantastic chemistry in the ring together. And it lets Alexa Bliss go on and probably do something with Nia Jax.
I have to show Jay Dizzle my favorite new picture that I found on Instagram the other day. It's Naomi snatching all the hair off Natalya's head.
That's amazing.
She said, you should get used to seeing yourself bald because you will be snatched at SummerSlam. I'll have Princess Hair Shop ship you bundles now for your new wig.
Oh.
I really hope that happens because if they had a hair versus hair match,
Belt versus hair.
Oh my God, I would love a belt versus hair match. When's the last time we've seen a hair versus hair match? Or even or a hair or mask versus hair, whatever it may be. Has it really been since CM Punk and Rey Mysterio?
I think so.
Wow, dude.
It's been that long.
So that would be fantastic. If that happens, that'll be the greatest moment.
Only way I could see it happening though would be if Natalya somehow loses her earned championship opportunity.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Now, if it's something like Naomi wins at SummerSlam and Natalya loses her shit and wants a rematch, that could be the only way you get a rematch is if you put your wig on the line.
because you will be snatched.
And then we go from there. That picture's almost like that's what they're wanting to tease.
I know.
But then why does Natalia look like she's going to eat Naomi? She's so much bigger.
She's not feeling the glow, I'll tell you that much.
No, not at all.
I'll make sure to post that on our Facebook and our various social networks.
You mean your Twitstagram?
My Twitstagram.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
a new thing. Put it on your tout, too.
Tout's dead in the water, man. That's sad.
Just put it on your tout.
I'll put it on my Vine. Oh, yeah, that doesn't exist either. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for listening to our second episode of Heroes and Headlocks. JD has been my guest today. I appreciate you coming out, man.
This was fun.
It was good times. We'll definitely do it again. I got some, not to say I'm so popular or anything, but, I have a few people lined up for the next few weeks. But, yeah, we'll definitely reconvene after SummerSlam and talk some wrestling and stuff.
Wrestling!
But, yeah, thanks for coming by, Libby.
Aw, thanks, sweetie.
I love your face.
I love you, too.
We'll see you guys next time on Heroes and Headlocks.
Thanks for listening to Heroes and Headlocks. Be sure to subscribe on SoundCloud and YouTube, as well as follow our other various pages like Our Color on the Comic on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.